Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is another of my video series in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. At the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Thurman Munson. Now, my task for picking my top 5 favorite Thurman Munson cards was a lot easier than last week, which was Mickey Mantle. In fact, I had to break down and I listed my top 10 favorite Mickey Mantle cards because there are so many great cards to choose from. But for Thurman Munson, I decided to go off his PSA Basic Set Registry checklist. It only contains 10 cards, unfortunately, from his 1970 Topps rookie card to his 1979 Topps card. So 10 cards in all. I only had to cut that down by half. So again, it was a lot easier to pick my top 5 than last week with Mickey Mantle. Now, here is where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I will have a link to the Thurman Munson PSA Basic Set Registry checklist. Again, just 10 cards to choose from. And would love to know in the comments, out of those 10 cards, which are your top 5 favorite Thurman Munson cards. And then next week, I will compile the results and let all of you know from all the responses, which are your top 5 favorite Thurman Munson cards. And if you could help me out by listing the cards, list them by number 1 through 5, 1 being your favorite Thurman Munson card and 5 being your 5th favorite Thurman Munson card. It'll help me compile the results for next week's video. And beyond those 10 basic Topps cards, if there are some other Thurman Munson cards that you really like, feel free to mention them as well. And I will make note of them in next week's video as some honorable mentions that you like of Thurman Munson cards. Now, before I get to my top 5 favorite Thurman Munson cards, I'm going to do a summary of all of your responses from last week's video, which featured Mickey Mantle. And we'll see from all of those responses which are your top 5 favorite Mickey Mantle cards. We'll compare them to how I ranked my top 5 Mickey Mantle cards. I'll also show off a lot of the honorable mentions, ones that were not part of his basic PSA registry checklist. I think there were 8 in total. Some great cards of Mickey Mantle, but not part of his basic Topps and Bowman run. Then I will show off the Thurman Munson cards that I have in my collection, and we'll wrap things up by spinning the wheel of names again to see which player will be featured in next week's video. So let's get right to it. All right, there were 23 of you who replied in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite Mickey Mantle cards. Probably to no one's surprise, 13 of you selected his 1952 Topps card. 12 of you selected his 1953 Topps card. 12 of you also selected his 1956 Topps card. 11 of you selected his 1953 Bowman card. And 9 of you selected his 1954 Bowman card. Out of the 21 cards of the PSA Basic Registry checklist for Mickey Mantle, the only card that did not get a single vote was his 1962 Topps card. So that was pretty interesting. But beyond that, there was a wide selection of Mickey Mantle cards that many of you put in your top 5. So again, thank you so much for all of you who replied in the comments. Now, I mentioned there were some honorable mentions beyond the 21 cards in the basic set registry. We have his 1954 Dandy, his 1954 Red Heart, his 1958 Topps All-Star, his 1959 Bazooka, his 1959 Home Run Derby, his 1959 Topps All-Star card, his 1961 Topps MVP card, and finally his 1962 Topps Manager's Dream featuring him and Willie Mays. All right, so out of the top 5 responses from all of your votes, how did those 5 cards rank? Well, at the number 5 spot, you listed his 1954 Bowman as your 5th favorite card. In my list, I had that as my 4th favorite Mickey Mantle card. At number 4, you had his 1953 Bowman card. I actually had that at my number 1 favorite Mickey Mantle card. At number 3, you selected his 1956 Topps card as your 3rd favorite card. I actually had that just outside my top 5 at number 6. At number 2, you voted for his 1953 Topps card. I had that at my number 3 spot. And finally, the majority of you chose his 1952 Topps card. I had that, and I explained why. I had that as my number 5 favorite Mickey Mantle card. All right, let's get into Thurman Munson. Again, we're working off his PSA Basic Set Registry checklist, which is only 10 cards from 1970 to 1979. So at number 5, I chose his 1974 Topps card. You have the New York Yankees there in the black banner yellow font, and just check out that mustache of Thurman Munson. Just a casual, portrait image there, sort of a candid shot, so to speak, not really posed. His uniform's open. Who knows, maybe he just got done with batting practice or catching a pitcher warming up or something. So I just think that's a great image of Thurman Munson. At number 4, I went with his 1977 Topps card. Just love that close-up shot. Looks like he may be sitting in the dugout, just that great smile. And in terms of the card itself, really hard to find, well-centered or without a lot of ink blotches on it. So to get a copy of this card in really high grade, believe it or not, for a 1977 Topps card, can run quite a bit of money. But again, this is beyond value, beyond price. Just I'm basing these on the aesthetic value of, or the presentation of the card. So you have the sort of all-star banner down at the bottom, just that facsimile autograph there, just a great image of Thurman Munson. So I put that at my number 4 favorite Thurman Munson card. At number 3, I went with his 1973 Topps card. Now, you don't have a really good look at Thurman Munson. It's just him and in his catching pose, but I love what the artist did, or the photographer did, by blurring the background. You see that in quite a few images from the 1973 Top set. Steve Garvey is one, and there are a few others that are prominent within the set that have that. I forget what the terminology is from a photographic standpoint, but the blurring of the background and the fans in the stand, and just him in that catcher's position. Love the little player icon in the bottom right, noting the position for catcher. Just an overall great looking card. At number 2, I went with his 1978 Topps card. This, I wouldn't say this was a difficult choice between this and my number 1, but I just absolutely love this Thurman Munson card. Of course, it's a sentimental favorite of mine with the 78 Topps set, but just the Yankees there in the cursive, that the blue line border around the card, and of course the image itself of Thurman Munson in his catcher gear, somewhat like the 73 set where you have the fans in the stands there a bit blurred, not quite the same way the photograph was taken as in the 73, but you still get that little perception there, but all focused on the image of Thurman Munson there. Just a great looking card. And of course, at number 1, which I think a lot of you are also going to put as your number 1. We'll see based on your results. But of course, I had to go with his 1971 Topps card. I don't like to throw around, a lot of you don't like to throw around the word iconic when it comes to baseball cards. But in terms of an action shot, this card has so many things. You have the black border of the 71 Topps set. You have the Rookie Cup logo and that amazing action shot with Thurman Munson trying to tag out the runner coming into home. Just an amazing card, one that I think a lot of vintage collectors, whether you're a Yankees fan or a Thurman Munson fan or not, a lot of you, I think, want to have this card in your collection. So I had to put this at my number 1 favorite Thurman Munson card. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around now and show off the Thurman Munson cards that I have in my collection. Now, Thurman Munson is one of the few player runs that I have actually completed. So I have all 10 of his basic Topps cards. So we'll start off with his 1970 rookie card. It's a dual player rookie card with Dave McDonald. Here is the back of it. I picked this up at a couple nationals ago, maybe 3 years ago, I think. But yep, there's his rookie card. Then, of course, his 1971. Really happy to find this copy fairly well centered, not perfect, but this is another card. One, the black border obviously complicates the condition, but also this card is notorious for being off-center, primarily left to right, but just check out that image. Man, what a great looking card. And here is the back of it. Then his 1972. In a little catcher's pose there, a posed image of him, getting ready to throw the ball. It's actually weird seeing him without a mustache or beard. Obviously, his rookie card doesn't have him in that, but all the later cards, I believe, show him with some sort of facial hair. But it's really interesting to see him without, at least a mustache. And here is the back. Of course, I think that was due to the Yankees rule. They didn't allow any facial hair at one point, and then I think they let it slide, and then a lot of players started either wearing, mustaches or beards. Here's the 73 that I have. Oh, such a great looking card. And really happy with the back centering on this one. I've mentioned it so many different times. The 73s, when I pick them up, I try to have the back fairly well centered. I don't normally care a lot about the centering on the backs, but with these 73s, just if they're really off center on the back, they just don't look right to me. So I do try to get ones that are pretty well centered on the back, and this is a nice example. So his 73, here's his 74. And there's the back to that. Then his 75. This is one of those cases where, a lot of times I like the color combination that Topps used for the player. Here, the purple and pink, I don't know, just doesn't seem to go well with the card. I don't know what other two color options they could have gone with that would have been better. I don't know. I would probably say this is my least favorite Thurman Munson card. But here is the back. Then we move to his 76. I believe he has a, in the 76 set, a League Leaders card. I thought I had that one as well that I was going to show off, but the one League Leader card features Tom Seaver. For whatever reason, I thought I had picked up the one that had Thurman Munson. I don't know, trying to think what he would have led for, maybe RBIs. But I think he's featured in the 76 set for a 75 League Leaders. There's his 76. And let's see if it says anything on the back for the 75. Let's see here. RBIs. He had 100. If I can zoom in here. I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it. 102 RBIs. So he may have been among the league leaders in RBIs for 1975. So that's maybe why he was on that one card. Eventually, I'm going to pick that one up because I think there's maybe another Hall of Famer on that as well. But I also have it on my quote-unquote Hall of Fame checklist run. I know Thurman Munson is not a Hall of Famer, but I feel like he should be. So I've included him on my run of Hall of Famers that I eventually want to get for every set. And so I can't remember whether he was the only one or whether there's another Hall of Famer on that card as well. But it's one that I eventually want to pick up. Shouldn't be too expensive. Here's his 77. I mentioned the difficulty in finding a well-centered copy. They're usually off left to right. But this one, I was very, very happy to finally find one. I think it was a PSA 6 actually. So don't care really much about it being dinged because of the corners probably. But it's also fairly clear without any ink smudges. So I was really happy to finally find a nice copy of his 77. And here is the back. Really nice as well. And of course, we move on to his 78. This one probably, I don't know, may fall right behind the Reggie Jackson base card in the 78 set as for my favorite 78 Topps cards. Again, has nothing to do with the fact that both Reggie Jackson and Thurman Munson are on the Yankees. Just, you can't deny the Reggie Jackson card from the 78 set. And this one has to be right up there as well. Man, beautiful card. And here's the back. And finally, unfortunately, due to his untimely death, this is his last playing days card, his 1979 Topps card. Again, you got that sort of famous, I guess, Thurman Munson mustache. And here is the back of the 79 Topps card. All right, those are my Thurman Munson cards. Now on to the Wheel of Names, where I will select, or the Wheel of Names will select the player that will be featured in next week's video. Here we go, the Wheel of Names. As you can see on the right-hand side are the remaining players from my original list of 40 players. So let's spin the wheel and see which player it selects. So next week's video is going to be on lefty Steve Carlton. All right, this will be another fun one to do. Has some run of Cardinals and Phillies cards to choose from. Fairly long list of cards, so it should be fun trying to narrow that down to my top 5 favorite. And again, as a final reminder, would love to know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite Thurman Munson cards. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.